What's going on, guys? It's the Devil Zero back again, and I know it's been a while, but I had to come back and talk about my favorite show, Doctor Who. Specifically, the newest episode for the 60th anniversary specials, The Star Beast, with Catherine Tate back as Donna Noble and David Tennant back as the 14th Doctor. If you're new here, make sure to click and subscribe, because I'm going to be covering Doctor Who from this time until the Christmas special this year, and even further beyond. So let's just get right into it. The first thing I want to talk about is the production that was done for this episode. This is easily the best looking Doctor Who episode I've ever seen, and I have watched Doctor Who up until the revival, and I've even begun the Hartnell era of the show. And everything from the intro to the TARDIS interior to the CG to the way the creatures look with practical and CG effects for stuff like the Roth Warriors and Beat the Meep, all absolutely fantastic. Anything with, the constructs done with the sonic screwdriver, the time vortex, everything was absolutely beautiful. The camera work, the cuts, the transitions, it's never looked as good as it has before. And I think part of that is just Russell T Davies, his directive vision, Rachel Talalay's direction, the director for this episode, the new budget I'm sure they've gotten from, having the distribution money from Disney. It's just everything overall. It's just completely new look and style, and I loved it. I loved every minute of it. Speaking of the intro, I did like that they gave us a recap to begin with at the episode. It did look a bit funny, just like David Tennant just standing there with like a giant just void of space, I guess. But it was good that they gave a recap for people who might not have seen Series 4 or haven't seen it in a long time of what happened between the Doctor and Donna. I did wish they gave a bit of just what happened to the Doctor in general for people who maybe haven't seen anyone between like Series 4 and I guess, Flux, just so people have an idea of the other regenerations that happened, but they did give us a little bit of that later with the Doctor. Now, the theme song and the opening credits itself were the best. That's the best it's ever looked in the entire show. Best time vortex. I'm leaning towards this honestly being the best theme song. My biggest critique of it, though, is that it's too short. It's only 28 seconds. But it's a beautiful 28 seconds. I wish it was just maybe, 5 to 10 seconds longer. It did feel like, it didn't line up completely with, I guess, like the credits for the actors in the episode, like they usually do for the opening credits. But it was beautiful. I mean, watching, just look at it. Just look at how it is. The TARDIS just bouncing around throughout the time vortex. The way it's like a beautiful, like, it's like a realm now. It used to just be like a tunnel and we're just seeing it from the TARDIS' POV. But now it's just like this giant space with clouds everywhere, which I really liked from like Matt Smith's opening too. And it's just bouncing around everywhere. It feels chaotic but beautiful at the same time. And the theme itself is just beautiful. It's a nice homage to the classic intro, to the Matt Smith intro, to the Capaldi intro, to the David Tennant and Christopher Eccleston intro. It's all just perfect. Murray Gold being back doing the music for this show was a fantastic decision. With that out of the way, I want to get into the episode itself and what happened. We start off with the Doctor showing up and he's meeting Donna again, and he's worried because it's like, well, he's meeting Donna, a spaceship is crashing in London. This can't be a coincidence when it comes to the Noble family, as we know from like the End of Time and Journey's End. But that was all great. David Tennant coming back and being the 14th Doctor. I was a bit worried because I wanted to know what's the difference between 10 and 14, and they made a clear distinction. 14 feels like the evolution of all of the modern Doctors so far, from 10 on. 10 was he was a heroic figure, but he was a very vain person. just look at the end of time and how in the Wars of Mars, to see the ego, the vanity he had, that he didn't want to go, he wanted to keep being there, and that really affected him negatively, with the Time Lord victorious. And now he's a lot more emotionally vulnerable and honest with himself, which I think he's gotten from 11 and 12 in Speech of Kindness, as we saw in The Doctor Falls, and 13's, love for everything in the universe, really, her compassion. And we see that with, like, when he talks about Donna, and he just openly says he loves her.
Because I've got this friend called Donna Noble, and she was my best friend in the whole wide universe. I absolutely love her. Oh, do I say things like that now?
And I think that's the first time in the modern era we ever hear the Doctor just openly say he loves somebody. He never said it to River Song, he never said it to Rose, he never said it to Martha, he never said it to any of these people, really. So that really resonated with me, seeing how much the Doctor has grown as a person, that he can just openly say that. And we see that later when he talks about Wilf, and he thinks Wilf is dead. And, he nearly just breaks down right there and says he loved the man.
Right. Of course. He wasn't young, he was... I love that man.
And we know from the end of time, he thinks of Wilf as like a father figure. He said he'd be proud if he was his father. And, see, that made me choke up as well. But again, getting back to the main plot, he's figuring all this out. He meets with the new unit's scientific advisor. I believe her name was Shirley Ann Bigham. She was really cool, played by Ruth Madley. She was really good for what they gave her. I kind of like whenever the Doctor meets kind of that new unit science person. We met a couple times, and like they kind of bounce off each other. It was really cool seeing some good wheelchair representation in here, especially after all these people arguing about Davros, but that's whatever. She was really cool. Like, she had a missile in her wheelchair. Like, that's just so badass. I didn't see that coming a mile away. The sleeping darts, I was like, okay, that's kind of cool. It's like some James Bond stuff. That's right. But she just fired a missile and blew up a wall. Like, it's just like the wackiness I really like to see, and to make her, a badass in her own right. But she was cool. Moving on to, the whole Beep the Meat plot and the Roth Warriors. I knew it was based off a comic, but I didn't know everything about it. But seeing how the switch up they did with Beep the Meat being this really nice and benevolent creature, and it's all cute and cuddly, and then figuring out, okay, it's actually being switched. The Roth are the good guys here. There's a psychedelic sun out there that caused the Meeps to be who they are, and now their leaders here, the only one left. I did like the kind of, I guess, parallel there with the Meep having apparently two hearts and being the lone survivor of its race, and the Doctor being that way as well, being the last Time Lord, because, well, first Gallifrey died in the Time War, then it didn't. Then the Master blew it up, I guess, twice. But, it was a cool parallel. And once again, Meep looked really good visually. The voice actor played Meep was fantastic. Her name was Miriam Margolyes. I hope I'm saying that right. But she was fantastic. The switch between like innocent creature to just like absolutely diabolical villain who just like eats people was really good. It was that nice camp. Overall, the episode had that nice camp back that it had, with Russell T Davies back from 2005 to 2008. It felt like it was back, but it had a new form. It had a new flavor to it. So it wasn't just the same old, same old. The Roth Warriors, I like the voices. Their voices were really nice. It was off-putting because they do look kind of scary, but they just have like these nice posh voices. I do like the big like plot that Meep had, that like he was gonna go out and get revenge on everyone in the cosmos, but to do that he had to refuel his rocket, and it was going to like destroy all of London, or like London Square, and like the amount of people who were gonna die from that was crazy. Now getting away from that, getting back to like, you know, Donna and her plot, that was all handled like amazing. Like having Donna back, Catherine Tate, she felt like it felt seamless. It felt absolutely seamless. Like she was taken from 2008, 2010 and just transported right to 2023. When she had that speech with that talk with her mom Sylvia, who was also amazing, you know, she's transformed beautifully from being like this mother who always puts down her daughter and just has zero confidence in her, to outright just doing whatever she can to protect her. It's a great transition and evolution of the character. But that talk she has with her, where she's saying she's missing something, that really choked me up, just because knowing that she knows that there's something lost, and we all know that it's there, that version of Donna that we saw in series 4 is pretty much gone. That she's really looking for that to come back was really the whole Dr. Donna return was handled well, where, you know, over time throughout the episode there's hints with her talking to the doctor and this whole conflict happening where it was slowly growing, and I like that build-up. The build-up was great until it crescendoed at the end with her coming back, and the way she came back, god damn, David Tennant had me on the verge of tears. They didn't even have me on the verge of tears. I was outright just tearing up completely when he's just like, why does this have to be like this, you know? Why do I have to sacrifice my friend, you know? He just outright says, no, you're important to me. You know, you mean so much to me. He says in the intro, this is his whole best friend in the whole world. And it felt like that. And just everything about her, you know, she still had that kindness and empathy that she had grown into developing throughout the show, with her giving away her lottery money to charity, her protection of Rose, her protection of her family, her immediately saying, no, I'll sacrifice myself to save 9 million people. She didn't even think about it. She instinctually knew to do it, and that was amazing. The whole like Winter Soldier activation sequence was cool with her becoming the Dr. Donna again.
Binary.
And the explanation of how it came back was great. How she, you know, survived. I think I didn't think about it before the episode, but it just clicked in me. It's like, okay, she's a daughter. Of course, like, the Dr. Donna is still genetically within her. So, when she has the daughter, it would pass on to her. So, you know, she has Rose, and Rose develops into having it. And so, it kind of having it split into two easily gets rid of that. I think the explanation of her just having to let it go, her and Rose just being able to let it go, it makes sense. I know some people online have been like, well, it doesn't make sense, and why would she say that to the doctor? Well, when she's saying that to the doctor, I think you have to remember that with the 10th Doctor was a very vain person. The 10th Doctor, there's a bit of layers to what she was saying there. The 10th Doctor and the 14th Doctor here are masculine. They're obviously masculine presenting. And the 10th Doctor particularly had a lot of masculine features, and not just physically, but as a character. He felt very powerful. He was always the strongest person, the smartest person in the room. Strong in the sense of that he was the smartest. He always was playing chess with everybody. So, and, you know, you had like his traditional like heroic love story with Rose, and kind of just like this swashbuckling like hero who just comes in and saves the day nature. he always had. And in his final episode, you see that ego and vanity on the full display, and he doesn't want to let go of things. So it's being paralleled here, where Donna and Rose are able to let go of that because of their experience of being women. So I think that's where Russell was coming from with this, and it's not a I hate men type of mentality, not at all. It's just, I mean, look at Sean Temple. He's a amazing guy, a male figure there, and we have Wilf as well, who I hope we'll see in a future episode. But speaking of Rose and speaking of commentary, I think I have mixed feelings on it. There's some pros, there's some cons of how Davis did some representation there. Obviously, I'm not a trans person, so I'm not an authority or an expert on the subject. I can only go by what I hear from other trans people and, you know, some of my own research I'll do in the future. But I could tell that Davis at least was doing it with good intentions, and he was putting love and care into it. And I think that matters a lot, you know? It's not just like he's tokenizing or he's doing it to score like points or anything like that. He did it because he felt like it needed attention, especially in an area like the UK, which is just turf island right now. And so if you see any of these people who talk about, you know, wokeness being in Doctor Who or trans being in Doctor Who, Davis has always been like this. He's always been progressive and wore his heart on his sleeve when it comes to his politics. Go back to 2005 and you'll see it in stuff like Aliens of London. So if you're thinking that politics should be in Doctor Who or wokeness or trans identity, then this show is not for you, and it never has been, really. But Rose as a character, I thought was really good. I think she was a good character, and I hope to see more from her in the future. I think she might show up with Shooty's Doctor. I'm not sure. I don't really look at leaks and set photos and stuff like that, so I kind of... But I feel like they're leaving her open to maybe being a companion or show up as a guest star in the future. But yeah, overall, this episode was brilliant, and I'm looking forward to whoever the boss is. I don't know if this is going to be like an overarching thing. I know Davis likes to do that with stuff like Bad Wolf or Torchwood, or, you know, the missing planets in the previous series. Another thing I should mention is I really love the new Sonic and its abilities to make shields and constructs and all that stuff. It's a good evolution of the Sonic, and I think we needed some new stuff for a long time with that to make it unique. But yeah, Murray Gold was great. I forgot to talk about the TARDIS interior. The TARDIS interior was utterly brilliant. I mean, yeah, it's the biggest one I think we've had. It felt familiar to me, like Matt Smith's TARDIS, which was the first one that was really big and had stairs, and like it felt like it was truly bigger on the inside. And this one gave me that. I love the white, sleek cleanness of it. It feels like a spaceship, you know, like a traditional spaceship, but it also just feels like weird, like it should in Doctor Who. I love the round things.
Look, the round things.
I love the round things.
What are the round things? No idea.
I love the lighting of it, how it can create completely different atmosphere. I love the console. I love how the console still kind of has that like clunky aesthetic to it, even though everything around it is clean. But yeah, that's what I've got for you today. I really loved this episode. I'd probably give it a 8 or a 9 out of 10. There's a couple problems I had, but I might say that for later. But yeah, if you enjoyed this, make sure to click a like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time when we have another episode of Doctor Who Wild Blue Yonder.